In this section, Gotta Keep It Correlatin', we'll continue our study of lines of best fit and regression lines. We'll study a concept called correlation. This is the connection, association, or relationship between variables. While studying correlation, we'll determine something called the correlation coefficient for a set of data. We'll also study the difference between correlation and causation. Just because two variables are correlated doesn't mean that one variable causes the other. We'll also study conditions. In this unit, the word condition may mean something different from what you've heard before. We'll study necessary and sufficient conditions. In a recent activity, we briefly mentioned how quantities can be rounded differently. For example, if a calculator showed the result 5.724, that number could be rounded differently by different people. This number could be rounded to 6, 5.7, or 5.27, depending on the level of accuracy desired. We'll study appropriate levels of accuracy in this section. To warm up, recall what you know about slope. Determine the slope of each line: black, green, orange, blue, and purple. Then list the slope values in order from least to greatest. Actually, on this assignment, they'll already be in order. For example, -10 is less than -1, -1 is less than 2, and 2 is less than 5. So least to greatest, these numbers are arranged -10, -1, 2, 5. When you're determining the slope of a line by looking at a graph, remember that slope is vertical change over horizontal change. This can also be written using the Greek symbol or the Greek letter delta, which looks like a triangle. This letter delta means change. So this means the change in the y over the change in x. Also remember that if you follow a line from left to right, if the line goes downhill, it has a negative slope. If the line goes uphill, it has a positive slope. So if it helps, trace the line with your finger or a pencil starting on the left-hand side. Let's look at one line at a time, starting with the black line. First, notice that when I trace the black line starting on the left, it runs downhill. The line slope is negative. Next, choose 2 points on the line that are located where 2 grid lines intersect. So here's a point I could choose, and here's a point I could choose. Because these little grid lines intersect there, it makes it easier to count. Let's count the vertical distance between the points first. To get from this level to this level is 1 step. Now let's count the horizontal distance between the points. It's also 1 step. So vertical over horizontal change is 1 over 1. But now when we simplify this fraction equals 1. That means that the slope of this line is -1 because we said it's going downhill. Now let's follow the same process for the green line. Determine whether the slope is positive or negative, uphill or downhill. Then choose 2 points on the line Then determine the vertical change and determine the horizontal change. Simplify the fraction if possible. Then do the same for the orange line, and then do the same for the purple and for the blue lines.